studying biology, but taking art classes because I always had kind of an aptitude for it, but didn't really think about pursuing it in my studies. But, you know, took painting and printmaking, which I really liked, a little bit of sculpture, working in clay and things, which was like okay, and took a sculpture class with a professor that was at the school I was at for only a year.
Which school was that?
This was at University of Wisconsin in Waukesha. It's just a 2-year school. You know, I went to school for a year, took a couple of years off, went back, and was like just getting back into it again. And this guy had a stick welder that he brought along and some plate steel, and said, "Oh, we're going to show you a little bit about welding." And I picked that thing up and made something. And seriously, I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's like I found my voice, transferred schools, changed my major, got a fine arts degree, started showing before I got out of school in 15 years.
That's great.
Where did you transfer to then?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Well, let's look at some of the stuff you've done here, and you can tell us a little bit about it.
Okay.
So how do you start? Where do you start when you do something like this?
This is actually kind of an interesting one, because I had this more abstract element that I had made for a piece, a commission piece, that was a great blue heron that I had standing on it, and it was a little too, the proportions weren't quite right, and it was a little bit too modern for my client that I was doing it for. So I had this piece basically sitting in my studio, and I was asked to do a demonstration at a museum in Wisconsin in conjunction with this big bird art exhibition. So I brought this along as my starting point, and thinking I'll make a red tail was my plan. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. So basically, you know, went up, I first started working in front of the audience and all, I was up on the stage, I had my water, no reference, just kind of an image in my head of what I wanted to do. Had my shears and everything, and just started cutting pieces, and formed this piece, and worked on it over the weekend. And part of the reason for the title, Reflections, is a lot of it is about, and because I was such an unfamiliar environment, I worked with animals and I don't know when I first started, it was just like a lot looser, rougher, more action-packed. I couldn't stop and sit back and look at it. People were watching it. I was just like really going at it. Got it to a point that I liked it, and stopped. Took it home for the weekend, or after that weekend, and it sat in my studio for a year. I was almost afraid to touch it, because I'm like, I really like it, but I don't want to ruin it. And finally got in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to approach this as, you know, finishing it like I do my more finished work now, but maintaining that spirit of spontaneity, which was present maybe a little bit more in my earlier work, but that spontaneity also kind of came at a cost. It was a little rough around the edges. So it's got kind of the core of that earlier work, but with 10 years of learning and finishing and refining. So it's a much more refined version of a piece I might have done 6 to 8 years ago.
Well, the best things are serendipitous, aren't they?
Oh yeah, totally. I totally agree.
Well, where's your studio now?
I'm in Wisconsin, right in Wisconsin over in the line. I'm down in Milwaukee. I'm about an hour from Chicago.
Yeah, I started to say this is fairly close to Chicago.
Yeah. I can go 5 minutes to get on the train.
Well, here's an excellent example of his creativity. It's detachable. You can put this or wherever you need to be. I'm sorry. It's good.
I have places where I go. I really don't like, you know, having one on there. I think too, because it's a little crowded. But, you know, I like it here. I like it there. And move around all the time. And you can actually take the whole thing. You know, try to make this look like a big, solid chunk of steel. But it's, you know, it's all hollow. So you can put the whole thing. You've got a higher stage. And I'll pick you up on off. Okay.